Now, I'm on a quest to consistently post content about real estate brokerages and to constantly educate other agents in the space of real estate. I have a podcast that is also on YouTube and Spotify called Selling Real Estate, where we educate other realtors on how best practices are used to obviously make their businesses as successful as possible. But in this situation, we're talking about you with your brokerage, you with the company you're with, because we all have to be with a company if we're not a broker ourselves. But what are the top 5 warning signs that maybe it's just like getting dull and it's time to maybe look elsewhere at a different model to actually switch brokerages? Because brokerages aren't going to make your business and you specifically successful. You are in control of that, but they can play a role in giving you a good environment, in inspiring you to continue to be better every day and to have people there that are all like-minded to help you grow as well. So if you were like me and started looking around, exploring options of what else is out there because maybe it's getting a little dull where you're currently at for whatever the reason, what are those top 5 things that you're possibly experiencing without maybe even consciously or even subconsciously being aware of it, that's maybe nudging you a little bit, that's a little voice over your shoulder saying, maybe you should take a look somewhere else just to see what else is out there? And if that's you, this is a great video for you. But if you want to just skip all that and just talk to me personally about my experience with the company that we're with, which is Real Broker, I've had a great experience, guys. It has been the best move I've made in 19 years as a real estate professional, and I'd love to chat with you about that. If you want to call, just go ahead and use the contact information below or book a time specifically on my Calendly link below. The first warning sign is going to be that you're simply uninspired. Wah, wah. I know that is a real thing, guys. When you've been selling real estate for 6 months or a year or 2, that may not be a thing. But after you've been selling real estate for a long time, and I would argue that honestly, after you've been doing anything for a long period of time, in my case, at the time it was 17 plus years, you start getting in a little bit of a groove, maybe kind of a rut, and you're looking for different ways to keep the energy alive and to reinvent yourself from time to time. But I started looking around after many years and really helping people buy and sell homes. The everyday aspect of that really was getting to be a little monotonous for me, just being transparent. I love helping people get a real estate contract executed and a great deal negotiated on their behalf. I just really love that aspect. But there's many other aspects of doing a real estate transaction over the years and many years, decades, that after a while can get a little monotonous and somewhat boring. And so what I came to realize is that, yes, that was a little monotonous, that was a little boring, but it also was the environment that we were in. The brick and mortar traditional model that I was in just was the same. It was the same over and over again. It was the same people that would show up, which weren't that many in the grand scheme of things of how big the brokerage was. It was the same stuff. It was the same lack of support. And so without kind of proactively looking too hard, I just stumbled across other different models and started kind of exploring it. And then here came Real Broker. And when I discovered Real Broker and started looking deep into it and started meeting some of the people, I was blown away. Some of the brightest minds, some of the minds that were on the cutting edge of new technology, new marketing ways specifically, were all migrating over to Real Broker. And so I had to ask the question, why? And needless to say, that going over there really inspired me again. It was this new vigor for doing the business, and not necessarily that the business of helping people buy and sell homes changed, because that certainly did not. But now you had that as well as this other aspect of maybe helping other agents or being at least compensated now for helping other agents. You see, guys, I had been training and helping agents for years because I'm a coach at heart and I enjoy doing it. It's a passion of mine, but there was never any compensation for that. Well, now with this model with Real, there can be compensation for doing the things you were already doing and love to do. So what a great thing to model and marry 2 things that you love doing together to then have this amazing aspect where you can make money actually in doing the things that you're passionate about doing. And so at the end of the day, that's what inspired me. And I, 20 months later, am extremely inspired still with Real Broker and being around the people I'm with and being around the leadership that Real has. It is phenomenal. And for being a cloud-based brokerage, it is incredible how great the culture is. The second thing that might be a warning sign is that you're simply tired of the franchise borders. So what does that mean? Well, in the old brick and mortar model, pretty much all of the real estate brokerages and big companies out there are a franchise model, meaning that even though the sign above the door may say RE/MAX or Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker or whatever it may be, the reality is that the Keller Williams that is in Phoenix, Arizona may not be owned, and more likely is not owned, by the Keller Williams in Nashville, Tennessee. And so if you're going to fly to Nashville for a conference and you want to maybe use that office space or call them up or whatever it may be, they're not going to treat you as if they're one of your agents. Why? Because that franchise is owned by a different owner. They have different ways of doing their business. As long as they operate within the general umbrella guidelines of the franchise agreement from the parent company, they can do business a little bit different than the franchise owner in a different city or state. And even across town, in Phoenix, Arizona, we have a lot of Keller Williams offices, as an example, but we have multiple different franchise owners just within Phoenix. So if I go from one area, say in Scottsdale, over to Goodyear on the opposite side of the valley, they may treat me completely different as if I'm not one of their own, even though I'm a Keller Williams agent. And so this is not picking out one company or the other. This is just simply the franchise model that these companies operate with when it comes to the old brick and mortar traditional real estate brokerage. And so Real is breaking that down. There are no borders. It is cloud-based. Every state, yes, has one designated broker or principal broker, if you will, that governs the agents in that state, but it's without borders. If you choose to sell homes in Scottsdale, Arizona, but also want to sell homes in Los Angeles, California, you still can do that without having to operate under two different franchise owners' rules and regulations. And the best thing about it is you still have just one cap. That's right. If you're an individual agent and your cap is $12,000 with Real, then if you sell a house in Scottsdale and sell a house in Los Angeles, it all rolls up under that one cap. And when you get to $12,000, no matter where the home is sold, no matter what state it's in, you are capped out for the year. Whereas with other models, if you are selling in one city as opposed to a different city, or one city as opposed to a different city in a different state, then you will have a different financial agreement with that potential franchise owner in that other city or other state. And therefore, you potentially could end up paying double. Now, this became a huge problem with Keller Williams and with other companies when agents started to expand. See, real estate agents are very entrepreneurial by heart. And a lot of these agents several years ago wanted to expand their business into other states across America. Well, in the franchise model, that became problematic because the owner of the company at the very top, let's say, didn't have all the rights to tell different franchise owners exactly what they need to do. As long as they signed up and abide by the franchise agreement, they can operate how they wish. And so there wasn't this uniformity across the entire brand when it came to the franchise model. And with Real Broker, you have none of that. There is uniformity. You can have cross-collateral culture. It is an amazing experience that, with frankly being with brick and mortar companies my entire 17 years prior to joining Real, there was none of that. I had no idea it could be like this. And that's why culture, again, is the superpower of Real Broker. And that segues perfectly into number 3, which is simply you're starting to realize you're not the best culture fit for this company. You're trying to self-improve. You want to get better at your craft. You want to have the most cutting marketing techniques. You want to mastermind with the greatest minds across brokerage brands. You don't care about what company they're with necessarily. You want the best for you. And you're trying to explore it. You're trying to move on and level up yourself. And maybe the majority of the agents at your company are not. So now it's no longer becoming like-minded. It's no longer becoming necessarily a great culture fit. You are going to the office, the brick and mortar office they provide that you're paying for in your split, and very few people are there. And so the energy, the culture is just not there, because a lot of these brick and mortar companies, they base their culture off the brick and mortar, the walls, the building being some place where everyone can go to. And that's not what real culture is based upon. Real culture is based upon the people and the consistent systems and rhythms that a company has throughout the organization. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of these brick and mortar companies don't do. Well, what happens if no one shows up consistently into the office? What happens if maybe the high producers don't show up and maybe just the part-time lower producers do? Are those the people you want to be around? And the answer is no. And because Real knows they don't provide brick and mortar space to agents, they know they have to make sure they're keenly aware to connect agents through multiple different platforms and ways of doing that, which the company has figured out at an extremely high level. So if you're looking to level up your business, yourself, your self-development, your leadership skills, all these things, REAL is an amazing platform to be on because you have access to the highest level thinkers within the entire company. And almost everyone gives everything away for free because it's a culture of abundance, a shared mentality across the platform. Now, the fourth warning sign could be that you don't have an equitable financial agreement. That's right, guys. A lot of these brick and mortar companies are still stuck in how business was ran 10, 20, 30 years ago. And the splits, the financial models of these companies need to change because the business is ever changing. And so if you don't have a financial model that is equitable, meaning that you are getting as much back from the brokerage as they are taking from you, then you should look to move on. In fact, with REAL, not only are there 0 monthly fees, it's also a high split company with a low cap, putting more and more money back into the agent's pocket. And with the different incentives they have through the stock purchase program, stock incentives, and revenue share, it is extremely easy if the agent wants to work at it and put in that time and energy and effort up front, in which they could zero base their cost for being at REAL. Why? Because REAL has a model set up in which they can get money back, in fact, more money back than what they paid in through the stock incentives, and they can be paid through revenue share based upon how influential they are with bringing people over to the company and growing REAL Broker. So it definitely is an equitable financial model to the agents that want to be at REAL, no matter if you want to attract agents to the company, no matter if you want to just sell a lot of real estate, or if you just simply are a part-time agent and hobbyist and don't want to pay monthly fees while you are maybe in the season of not focusing on your business that much because maybe you're already retired and looking to do this and maybe in a more part-time role. So it has a little bit of everything for everybody when it comes to having an equitable financial model for the agent. And the fifth warning sign that it may be time to maybe switch brokerages is that they have limited technology and video marketing. That's right, guys. Video marketing is the future. At this point, it's not even the future. It is the ante at the table to sit down and actually play the game. If you're not doing some sort of video marketing, you will be left behind. And a lot of brick and mortar brokerages don't do anything to try to promote and to make sure that agents are doing high quality video marketing to the public. And what I started seeing at REAL is that most of the agents that are doing a lot of content creation, i.e. video marketing, were actually making the move to REAL. So why is it that most were doing that? Well, because REAL was attracting those types of agents that love making content, that love serving their clients in a different style of way through video marketing. Now, the technology is huge as well. Does your brokerage own its own technology? And if they happen to, what are they doing with it to try to enhance your life and your business as an agent with their company? See, that's a question that all of us have to wrestle with. And with REAL, it is very clear. REAL does own their own technology. It's one of the few companies in the real estate industry that actually does. And with that, they are using it to try to consistently find ways to make the real estate agent's life easier, their business better by serving their clients more efficiently. And so without going on a whole diatribe of what REAL technology is all about, because I have videos on that to check out on this channel, let's just say because they own their own technology, they are building foundation upon foundation upon foundation, like Lego block style, in which they're doing some really cool things like gamifying the app where the agent can log in and see in real time where they're at with their cap, their splits, the amount of money they've earned on revenue share, stock awards, and so on and so forth. But in the future also is coming financial technology, in which they're going to have a banking system within the app for all the agents to use, along with credit cards, debit cards, and points. So it will continue to be a situation in which the agent can benefit greatly for being on a platform that has its own tech and really promotes video marketing to help their businesses out. So I hope this all made sense. I hope those 5 things, that if you're kind of subconsciously feeling the weight of those things, like maybe there's a better way to do this or that, it's probably one of these 5 things, I would imagine, and there's others as well. But if you'd like to explore this in more depth and detail, please contact me below with the information. Give me a call at 480-660-5974, or just go ahead and book an appointment on our Calendly link below. I would love to talk to you about this because this has changed my life. This has made me more inspired. It feels like I just got in real estate a couple years ago, when this is actually my 19th year in the business. And I've never been more fired up because of the model I'm on and the opportunities that lie in the future while being with this company. So thank you guys. I hope you got a lot of value in this video, and to make sure you never miss another one, subscribe to our channel and check out our playlist right here.